big games, big business. Big tech bringing people back to the Bay Area and building a better Bay Area.
The driver involved in a deadly crash has been released from custody. What's happening with the case to get justice for the family who was killed?
It's another crisis on the streets of Oakland. Stolen, abandoned cars dumped all across the city. A new report obtained by the I-Team exposes just how bad it is.
Always live. ABC7 News starts right now.
Capitalizing on conventions. 4 years after the pandemic shut everything down, Silicon Valley and San Francisco are back to doing what we do best. Good evening, I'm Ama Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. The future is now, and we're talking tech, everything from games to artificial intelligence, multi-billion-dollar industries that are drawing thousands of people to conventions right here in the Bay Area.
Yes, they are helping build a better Bay Area, showcasing the innovation that puts Silicon Valley on the map with technology that's changed lives around the world. NVIDIA GTC is an AI conference happening all week in San Jose. We sent ABC7 News reporter Zach Fuentes there to see what the future holds.
And GDC, the Game Developers Conference, is underway at San Francisco's Moscone Center. ABC7 News reporter Luz Pena is there because developing games is serious business. Luz?
It's the world's largest conference for game industry professionals, and it's happening this week in San Francisco's Moscone Center.
GDC it's the premium conference in video games, and it's an amazing collection of people.
The Game Developers Conference, or GDC for short, is attracting video game developers and executives like Michael Sapiro and Vanessa Lane, who are here to launch their product.
So we work with leading psychologists to create video games that are good for your mental health without sacrificing any of the fun. There's something so special about being in person at GDC in San Francisco, and we honestly just love the city.
And San Francisco loves them back. And more than 30,000 people are expected to attend the Game Developers Conference this week, a huge boost to the economy in this area. According to San Francisco Travel, GDC will generate over $40 million in economic impact for the city. We noticed a line outside of the Peruvian restaurant Bocado, right across from the conference.
Super happy, I want everyone try my food, this is why I am cool for all the guests coming today. More busy day we have today. We have many reservations, many parties.
A sigh of relief as many businesses in the area are still recovering from the negative impacts of APEC, which closed multiple streets and blocked off foot traffic and businesses.
We probably lost $30,000 that week, and then there was the week of setup and the takedown, so definitely night and day.
The Brick House Bar and Grill is seeing the biggest economic boost in months this week.
We are surrounded by offices that still aren't full yet, so these events at Moscone Center are just, they can almost make and break us at this point in time, so we're so grateful. It's been fantastic so far. Lots of big reservations. We've got some parties.
The president of the Soma Business Association is hoping San Francisco advocates for more conferences like this one.
Please have more of these conventions. Work with everybody you can to bring more of them here to the cities.
In San Francisco, Luz Pena, ABC7 News.
Moscone Center hosted almost 36 conventions last year. You heard Luz mention APEC. That was the big one, a week-long event in November. And San Francisco hosted world leaders and 30,000 guests for discussions of international economic importance. Restaurants lost business because strict security measures kept visitors away. But hotels did well. The Yerba Buena Community Benefit District says in total, 34 conventions last year helped support 55,000 tourism jobs and brought in $255 million to the neighborhood.
San Jose is seeing one of its biggest conventions since the pandemic. NVIDIA's AI conference is bringing in people from all over the world, which means a lot of revenue, of course, for local businesses. ABC7 News South Bay reporter Zach Fuentes has more on how leaders believe events like this are helping the bottom line for both businesses and households.
Cupcakes that are nearly too pretty to eat are part of business owner Andrea Hahn's livelihood. In the years before the pandemic, her Frost Cupcake Factory thrived on corporate orders.
Apple and Google and eBay and NVIDIA, and they wanted these cupcakes at their business.
But after 8 years of steady corporate business, COVID changed everything.
They weren't holding huge meetings or conventions. They couldn't get people to come into the office. And then they had budget cuts.
Though her business managed, they were still waiting for the jumpstart that eventually came thanks to the NVIDIA conference that kicked off Monday in downtown San Jose. NVIDIA ordered 1,000 cupcakes from Han, something she's thrilled by, not just for her business, but also for other friends in business.
So you can just tell the whole city is booming. The hotels are packed, everything. There's people walking with lanyards everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Officials with Visit San Jose say events like this throughout this year are expected to bring in nearly $80 million in economic impact to the city. That impact not just for businesses.
The last full year pre-pandemic, each household benefited $1,000 in their tax burden because of the business that we brought to the city.
Visit San Jose said it's working to keep attracting more conventions and events to the area.
One of our jobs is to reach out to all of those other companies and associations that are affiliated and said, hey, this group had a great experience here. When is the next time you might come west, and why not consider San Jose?
Though the NVIDIA conference has shaped up to be a big success and more conferences are on the way, local leaders hope that conventions and events will be part of a larger strategy that brings business here to San Jose.
We are working to really bring vibrancy into downtown that is sustainable and that we have with or without special events. And I think we're doing a really good job. The numbers are inching up. We have a lot of foot traffic in the evenings and on the weekends.
Right now, businesses like Frost Cupcake Factory are grateful for this week and what's to come.
We've been waiting for this to come back, so something like this is huge for us.
In San Jose, Zach Fuentes, ABC7 News.
And the next generation of tech needs the next generation of people, of course. That's where the Curiosity Cube comes into play. See what San Jose middle school students learned today. That's still ahead, right here on ABC7 News at 6.
Developing news. We're learning the driver involved in a crash over the weekend that claimed the lives of 3 family members is no longer in police custody. A mother, father, and a toddler died while they were waiting at a bus stop in San Francisco on West Portal Avenue Saturday when a speeding car ran into them. Another child, an infant, survived but is critically injured. Today, we're hearing from the driver's attorney and the San Francisco District Attorney about potential criminal charges. Here's ABC7 News reporter Suzanne Fawn.
This is just an unspeakable tragedy that is a reality.
Sam Geller represents the 78-year-old woman who was behind the wheel of this Mercedes SUV Saturday when it crashed into a bus shelter near the West Portal station.
This is a very difficult time for her as well. This is a tragedy that she has to find a way to live with and navigate.
Diego Cardoso de Oliveira and his wife Matilda Ramos Pinto were waiting at the bus stop along with their 2 children. The crash killed the couple and their toddler. It severely hurt their infant. Strangers and community members who stopped by the crash site are struggling to make sense of what happened.
It's incredibly sad. It really, I think, shows how something like this could happen to any of us.
Oh, it's sad. It's a tragedy. But, you don't know what happened with the driver.
The driver remains in the hospital but will be released in the near future, according to her attorney. Today, ABC7 News asked him why she's no longer in police custody.
There are times, that accidents and tragedies happen and there wasn't a crime committed.
Initially, police arrested the woman on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter and reckless driving, but no charges have been formally filed.
I think she's appreciative and I'm appreciative of the fact that the DA's office is conducting an investigation to determine whether or not there are any elements that exist in this incident that would lead to charges.
Did she have a medical emergency?
I'm not aware. It's not that I'm not aware. I'm not privy to that kind of information yet.
Today, ABC7 News asked District Attorney Brooke Jenkins why she didn't charge the driver.
This is not in any way absolving anyone of criminal behavior, but this is the type of investigation that just takes a little bit longer than that 48-hour period.
Prosecutors say they're still analyzing toxicology reports and the vehicle's operating system. In San Francisco, Suzanne Fawn, ABC7 News.
And we have new details on the attempted robbery of a delivery driver in Pleasant Hill that turned into a deadly shootout. A man suspected of trying to rob the driver has died. He's identified as 21-year-old Trevon Davis. Police say Davis approached 63-year-old Peter Popovich, who had been making deliveries at cannabis dispensaries. Popovich pulled out a gun and the 2 exchanged gunfire, each getting hit several times. Popovich, who had a concealed weapons permit, later died at the hospital. Local authorities are looking for a second suspect. Questions are being raised tonight about the dangers of police pursuits. Now, this comes one day after a driver died in a head-on collision on westbound 580 in Oakland. He was identified today as 57-year-old David Lee Weiner from Lafayette. Authorities say he was heading to work in San Francisco when a pickup truck trying to get away from police collided with his car. ABC7 News reporter Unser Hassan has the story.
As I was driving, about to get onto the freeway on-ramp, a car fleeing the police skidded out of its lane and hit my car head-on.
Kara Keegan says she's lucky to be alive, but still living in pain. She suffered a back injury on December 7th when a police officer chasing a car across the Bay Bridge and into the East Bay crashed into her. Based on her experience, Keegan believes police chases can put the public in danger.
There are other safer alternatives to police chases, and I really think that we need to approach police chases with extreme caution.
Citing data from a 2021 report, CHP says there were 12,513 police pursuits that year. Of those, 20% resulted in a crash. 63% were property damage only, 25% were injury crashes, close to 2% were fatal crashes. That's 52 deaths.
We are really taking a close look at police actions prior to the collision to determine whether or not they were in department policy or not.
El Cerrito Police Chief Paul Keith says his department is conducting an internal review following a break-in at a tobacco shop. That led to Tuesday's police pursuit onto I-80. When the driver made a U-turn into oncoming traffic, the officer called off the pursuit. But shortly after, the suspect's truck hit a car head-on, killing the driver. The El Cerrito Police Manual lists 11 factors to consider when initiating a police chase. The police chief says this was a possible felony burglary and is one of the instances that could warrant a pursuit.
Seeing the tragic outcome of that chase serves as a reminder that police chases and pursuits are incredibly dangerous.
Kevin Benedicto serves on the San Francisco Police Commission. He says there isn't any evidence at this point that El Cerrito police did not follow procedure, but he adds that new technologies like drones or GPS tracking offer alternatives.
A recent study by the San Francisco Department of Police Accountability showed that the apprehension rates for a pursuit more than doubled when there was some kind of aerial support.
In the East Bay, Ansar Hassan, ABC7 News.
Coming up next, the 90th birthday for former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. A long life with lessons and a rich legacy.
I'm meteorologist Sandy Patel. Get ready to make the switch from sunshine to spring showers. I'll have the timeline coming up.
And don't forget, Struck by Justice, the impact of polyclass is now streaming on the ABC7 Bay Area app. It looks at how the 1993 kidnapping and murder of polyclass brought about the 3 strikes law and an era of tough on crime policies. Watch the ABC7 Originals video on ABC7news.com and anywhere you stream ABC7 Bay Area.